Of all the princes from all the nations from all over the continent at her coming-of-age gala, the crown princess chooses you, the knight commander's son. The night was lovely. Jasmine scented the air as he stood near the doors leading towards the expansive gardens. The ballroom was full, the music flowing through the grand ballroom, and his dress uniform fit just snugly enough to make the loose touch of thread at the nape of his neck irritating. Each time it irritated him to no end, yet he always forgot to fix it by the end of each exhausting event. He generally was not in a position to attend such grand events to begin with. There were enough squadron inspections, patrol trainings, personal trainings, and emissary expeditions. With his father's position, he had found his particular set of skills curried favor with those within the gentry. Really, he was no more than a glorified soldier who they preferred purely because he had better table manners and finer speech, all afforded by his father's, admittedly well-earned, rank and the wealth it provided, though apparently all the wealth in the world couldn't afford more comfortable dress uniforms. He had asked. Instinct had him on high alert as the din of the ballroom quieted at the distant thunk of the herald's staff upon the grand stair. Whispers and gasps of suspense sounded out as his gaze turned inward from his unfeeling perusal of the gardens that were kept pleasingly tidy and uniform. The short, portly fellow at the top of the stairs gazed with disinterest over the crowd before he spoke. For such a diminutive figure, he certainly had a set of lungs, considering how his voice boomed clearly across the cavernous room with ease. Unto the citizens of her kingdom upon the eve of her coming of age, I humbly present the illustrious Princess Andromeda alongside her escort, Prince Dominic. Those final thundercracks of language heralded the grand opening of heavily carved wooden doors, revealing the princess escorted on the arm of her younger brother. As always, Her Highness was radiant in an impressive architectural feat of a gown, raven hair in an elaborate arrangement that highlighted sharp cheeks to match her renowned wit. From what rather limited interactions he had with Her Royal Highness, he knew her honeyed tongue could cut far more sharply and with greater precision and devastation than any blade man could create. She had felled many a fool with a quiet word, and no doubt shall fell countless more. As he listened to the queen finally step in and drone on about the illustrious nature of the blessed day, he idly tracked Princess Andromeda's seemingly effortless descent down the stair, as he also noted the murmurs and near salivating suitors around him. Animals. The lot of them. He had seen less of a feral, predatory gleam in rabid dogs. Gods above help whatever poor man she elects as her consort this evening. He's liable to be torn to pieces by these creatures. I now present my lovely daughter to follow our traditions and announce her preferred candidate for her consort, with whom she shall open the floor with the first dance. Those around him stilled or fidgeted in anticipation, like his own shoulders relaxed as he glanced about the room. Many from both their own territories as well as neighboring kingdoms were in attendance this evening. Whom would the princess choose? Whoever they were, he sincerely hoped they would be given a security detail immediately based on the near manic state of the man in his upper right periphery. Someone ought to get the fellow a sedative before he broke his jaw with the force of clenching, so Captain Fidel Ward. At his name, he instantly stood at attention, only to realize the voice calling him wasn't the usual tone of commanders or simpering admirers. No, it held that knife's edge balancing between the sucker of honeysuckle nectar and the iron of spilt blood. Letting himself look to the supposed source, emerald eyes met his own hazel, unflinching. A slight, confident smile crept across painted lips as she gave a dismissive wave of her hand. One less observant may think it a suggestion, but no, it was a silent command that swiftly parted the ocean of spectators in a rustling of fine fabrics. Schooling his features into a mask of calm indifference, he swiftly approached with precision, stopping an appropriate distance before bowing as per protocol. Princess Andromeda, I am at your command. What need have you of my humble service? He queried whilst maintaining the bow, now glad for the countless hours spent drilling appropriate responses to summons by those above him. He would have to thank Sir Theobald for the brutal etiquette lessons later. I commend you for your propriety. Raise yourself, Captain. You may approach without military decorum. The gaze that watched him straighten held approval before the princess spoke once more. I wish a dance with you, Captain. May you set aside your duties long enough for a dance? There was that calculating glint. She was testing him, but for what? Why now? Why dance with him of all who were present? Be barely held meager land holdings? Why ask him to put aside his oath for only the length of a dance? Why ask him to put aside his oath at all? My duty remains whether upon your field of battle or the marble of your hall. Your will is my own, and your desire my conquest. He insisted carefully, recalling a portion of his vow. I need not set aside my oath of life in your service, nor duty to the protection of the gods chosen to provide a dance, my princess. Approval softened her intense gaze. For which I am ever grateful, Captain. Another silent gesture, and the band began to play once more. Bowing, he offered his hand, her own dainty sun-kissed fingers perching with practiced ease against his calloused palm as he led her towards the center of the dance floor. Each movement based on memory of social niceties and spatial memory alone, rather than a mere gratitude. He ought to include a gift of the old knight's preferred brandy. Otherwise he would be in quite a predicament at this time. Well, even more precarious of a predicament, at least. Carefully proceeding to the movements of the dance, he maintained the appropriate distance between himself and Princess Andromeda. With every calculated step, he caught sight of glares and heard hushed outrage over her selection of him as her dancing partner. No, as her intended consort, should he accept. Enjoying the story? Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. All right, let's dive back into the story. The reality sunk in as he glanced once more down at the woman in his arms. Suddenly feeling like each step was a movement on a chessboard, she countered perfectly. Ah, the brilliant strategist has finally realized what I request of him. She hummed in bemusement. You carry yourself well, Captain, both in word and in action. I thank you for your kindness, Princess. He insisted before becoming bolder. You request me as your consort, rather than a man devoted to your service. May I ask the reasoning for such a choice, my princess, when you know me not? I am but your humble and devoted servant. The rumors ring true. Your dancing is impeccable. He watched her, confused, as she continued. You have taught those in your command to dance as well, despite their station not requiring or normally allowing such study or need. My informant has relayed that such an unorthodox choice has led to those under your command to have surer, fleeter footwork than those of their peers. Often your squadrons are commandeered for security among our ambassadors. Their manners refined beyond need, speech amiable and polite, making even a commoner a desirable companion for such delicate work. I am flattered by your praise, Princess Andromeda. I have only just begun, Captain. Before our last victory, you defied direct orders from your superiors due to them breaking combat laws I implemented at our queen's side. You accepted punishment on behalf of yourself and your command unflinchingly rather than desecrate the seal of your queen. A chill ran down his spine at her tone of those final two words. Your queen. Somehow, he knew she referred not to her mother, but to herself. My body and life is dedicated to your service in all things without hesitation or question. I know. Tonight has only proven what I have observed to be true. A delicate hand came up to his chin, feather-light fingers turning his head slightly with the strength of steel as she gave a pleased hum. Scarring is minimal, otherwise your features are strong and pleasing to the eye. Stature and build is imposing. You will be complimentary in portraits by my side. Swallowing hard, he took a deep breath to maintain his composure. I am but a captain. I have minimal land holdings and little prestige among the court. I have no hand in politics, and eventual inheritance of my father's illustrious title is not guaranteed if others are more fitting than I. I am aware. None of this displeases me. At the conclusion of this dance, you shall lead me to my private balcony. Without a second thought, he nodded, hearing the nearing conclusion of the music. As you command. Soon enough, he was escorting Her Highness to her balcony, the two of them now alone aside from the guards posted just barely out of earshot, her voice calm and clear as she began to speak once more, as she looked over the pristine gardens. I require a consort who will remain loyal to me and my cause while supporting me wholeheartedly within the political sphere. I have not the time nor patience to entertain those who may think to usurp my authority or to press for their own selfish goals. What is required is one who is willing to sacrifice their wants for the greater causes of this kingdom. Within that spectacle of would-be suitors, alliances to self and greed have already been committed. Loyalties to self and unattainable power have been sworn. You, Captain, are a perfect vessel, loyal, unwavering, simple of heart and driven by honor. He quietly observed her as she spoke, not with passion, but with the sort of confidence one has when convinced every word tumbling from their lips forms the reality around them. He could see now how gods may merely speak existence into being. You have already pledged your body and life to my service, and proven your unwavering loyalty to my commands. I will be clear in your duties if you so choose to accept this new post. You will stand, resolute and proud, at my side to support my every move. I require preferably 3 heirs in order to secure the continuance of the throne's bloodline and the stability of my people's crown. You will not be expected to take anything more than a superficial part in political dealings, and always only as a voice of support to myself. You will be naught but a pawn to my needs. I ask not your love, only your unwavering devotion. Finally turning to gaze upon him, she lightly arched a brow. So, Captain, I ask if you are willing and able to take post by my side and fulfill your oath under my direct command as my consort, rather than as my soldier? His mind made up, he knelt at her feet, bearing his sword to present unto her. I, Fidele Ward, humble servant to the crown, renew my vow of unwavering loyalty and dedication of my body and life to the command of my queen and defense of my country in my post as the queen's consort. Long may she live. A wry, pleased smile finally broke her unfeeling facade as she reached down, gently tilting his chin up to meet her gaze. I will hold you to your oath, dear one. Now rise. There is much to be done. Thank you for listening to the story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next chapter. Your support means a lot.